Hello, this is OldCrowBalthazor. Welcome to Balthazar Strategic Arcana. So I'm happy to announce that I have a new multiplayer match going with Gaming with the Colonel with the Total Realism Project World Mod. Mod designed by Lothos, aka Dave Martinez. I'm going to be playing the Axis. Colonel's going to be playing the Allies. We're going to have a daily schedule, both of us. And the first Axis turn is going to be on May 31st. So, and then Colonel's going to follow 12 hours later with the Allied point of view. There'll be a link in the description for his channel if you're not aware of Gaming with the Colonel. The Colonel and I have done a lot of collaborations before. As a matter of fact, the Colonel was the one that got me into YouTube. It talked me into doing it, and I did my first YouTube joint production with him. About 3 years ago I had retired, and so I needed something to do, and so yeah, I'm very happy about that. So we always we're a good match for each other. Anyway, I'm going to go back out and look at this. This thing is vast. Now, if anyone's been following my channel, they know that I played this before the War in Europe version. First, with Unfortunate Sin, when I was this mod was brought to my attention a couple of years ago. It was a very early version, and then I played Dudeman, and then I played Taxman. So this mod is ever changing. It literally is a project. So Dave or Martinez or Lothos, if you're watching as a developer, as I have never played this before, so you may hear me sometimes. I'm confused about certain things because there's always changes with this mod. I'm trying to work it out. I was anyway, and I think there's some places on the map that need a little love, but you'll see that in the videos. And so it's not a personal attack on you or anything. I get it, but it does work well. Design's good. For everybody else, one of the things I really like about the most recent changes is his the granular weather zones. He's got a lot more weather zones now, so you won't have one vast area that's all like clear or mud or whatever. It looks like it here, but that's a change of the season. But just to give a fair example, let's go up here to Karelia. Well, this is Karelia down here. But anyway, this area, the Kola Peninsula, before if anyone's played these games, they'll see it's just what ice all the way through here, or Arctic. Well, it is more granular. I've seen the season change as me and the Colonel have been playing. You know, this gets the mud. And I worked in the Arctic for a long time. And I tell you, in the summer it can actually get pretty hot. It's you know, get a cold air at night and stuff like that, but it'll be mosquitoes. The grass will grow high. I mean, it can be 8 feet tall. We used to call it elephant grass. You know, we were in the subarctic. But anyway, so what's cool about that is when you're doing operations in areas like this, though you might have clear weather in one small area, but it'll be muddy in another because rain had just passed through. I mean, like I saw, there's a weather zone associated right in here with the Pripyat marshes and stuff, so there's that. There's some other cool features since the last time I played. This area right here between Tripoli and El Alamein. And here's something here to remind you. For supply reasons, units it's warning you both sides, stay below 16 units between Tripoli and El Alamein. You get supply hits if you don't, and it makes sense. This whole area here, because before you could just send a huge wadero of Axis units or even Allied units when they pass through here. And it just seemed unrealistic, so it's a pretty good fix. You got to really manage what you're going to do down here, both sides. Another interesting situation is Albania, and we also have a house rule that augments this. It says here Albania can only support up to 5 units with supplies while Yugoslavia is neutral. And I'm gonna have a segment about the house rules that we've adopted that augments this. But basically, if you put more than 5 units in here, stuff Albania, you'll start getting supply hits. And I accidentally do that as Italians got in the War of Greece, and So it wasn't real bad, but it was bad enough to have to cool my jets. I'm going to talk about the house rules later, but one I'll just bring up right now. We also agreed, I designed it, was no German units here. This is an Italian adventure, and so it would have dropped Italy's prestige to have Germans coming to help them here. Germans did end up helping them by coming through Bulgaria and Yugoslavia, pushed to take over Greece and help Mussolini. So no German units can go in here until Greece is conquered, and then they can come in here. If anyone's unfamiliar, also just jumping in, these Adriatic defense points are key. You want to hold these. You don't want to lose all these. Any Allied ships going here, they'll get dinked pretty bad, man. They'll get hit. So it's kind of a safe zone. Yeah, another feature here that's changed from the last time I played is the loot boxes to get in and out of the Mediterranean. They're here, and there's one up here. So anyway, it's for subs only, Axis subs only. And one of the interesting things about this is, apparently, from what I've been told, these change if you start a new game. So an allied player couldn't game, sitting a unit on top of here. So he's never really going to know how I'm getting in and out, unless he happens to see me disappear, I suppose. So there's that. And there's a lot of other changes. There's our changes to artillery. Can't detrench. The air power is different a little bit. Ships can't get naval weapons anymore. Well, anyway, all this kind of stuff, it was kind of new to me, but we wanted to play. And again, I do question certain things while I'm playing, but I have a lot of experience with this model already, a lot. And so it isn't a criticism. It's me trying to work out what's going on. I've gone on Discord and talked to the developer Lothos and Gidgeduru and other people that are familiar with this mod. Now, this is 8.10, like I said before. So there's already versions after this. I have looked at it a little bit, but looked at it and read it, and some of the changes I like. But me and the Colonel are stuck with this. And we're enjoying it. We're having a good time. And yeah, I think that's all I can do right now. So again, if I didn't, we're going to be doing dailies, and I got a feeling this is going to go for a very long time. The Colonel and I have already banked at least 60 turns. We wanted to do this for fog of war reasons. We want to watch each other's videos, and on top of that, we would like to have people comment, but we didn't want to have a problem with somebody accidentally or on purpose revealing some kind of a long-term strategy, because in these kind of big, large scope games, they're massive. Sometimes, if there's going to be a naval element involved here, and you got to do a long-time plan. Japan, for one, and it might take 15, 20, 30 turns to really get it to, you got a long-range plan and somebody spills the beans. Of course, you could change your mind, but some of these things, you kind of, once you get the train going, it rolls. You don't want to deviate from the plan because there's money involved. And men and time. But I think that's all. It's going to be good, though. So, but even with a daily schedule each, and we banked that, like I said, at least, over 60 turns, and each turn is 30 turns in a year, right? So even if we go to 1945, we're talking about 5 months of a joint production between playing us, and that includes playing too. And but it could go past 1945. I have no idea. I don't want to give any spoilers now, but there's been some interesting stuff going on, let me tell you. And again, every time I play this, there's something new, and I'm sure with the Colonel too. He's played it actually more than me now. I know he's got other matches going on with other people, and yeah, but him and me, once we got this project going, we talk all the time. We aren't telling what each other's doing. We try to get information. Sometimes you talk too long and somebody will slip, right? But we still have had some really good, interesting discussions. about strategy and other things, and some questions about the mod, because there's some things I might know and he doesn't know, but nothing that's going to change how we're going to contend with each other, that's for sure. So with that, I'm going to pause for a little bit, and then we're going to go look at the house rules, and we're got some explanations about that. So see you guys in a minute. All right, I'm back, and I pulled my document. So this is the TRP World House Rules that me and the Colonel had worked out. Some of them were based on stuff that I wanted. Some of them are from previous house rules. Some were recommended by the developer. Anyway, the Colonel and I, we worked these out. So a couple of these I think are redundant now, and but I'll go through them real quick. Now, these house rules, when you're watching my videos, if you look at the description and you hit more, you'll be able to read through all these. And we did just make a very recent change, which I'll bring up in a little bit. I actually made a change the day of this recording. So I will talk about that in a little bit. So anyway, we revised these on March 12th, 2024. We made it kind of for a semi-historical timeline, but trust me, we want lots of latitude to be able to do other things. Makes it very interesting. But there's some things pretty much we wanted to codify, even though we weren't going to do it to each other. We played each other before. We know what each other likes and doesn't like. Basically, there's some things that we surprise each other with, and we gotta have a rationale how it works or not. Number one, no war deck of the USSR before April 1941. Unless the USSR mobilization reaches 90%. The main reason for that is because in the past I've seen people do this, and I've read about it, and other people told me some opponents have attacked the USSR, like in February of 41, and then the winter effect will fire, and most of their units are in Poland and aren't even going to be affected by the Soviet Union. They game it, so the winter effect is pretty devastating to the Axis. Anyway, me and the Colonel weren't going to do that unless the mobilization gets to 90%. It had to be something that the Axis did to make that happen, right? And then it'd be legitimate, right? The USSR is going to get in. But this is to keep that kind of, we codified it mainly for other people, because make them aware people will do this to you. I don't know, some people like blood sport or something. I don't get it. But they do. So we codified this, so this won't happen. So the winter effect won't happen early, and you can get over it. And then you blitzkrieg all the way across Russia, and then the first winter of 41, 42, there's no winter effect. Now there is a probability it won't happen anyway. It's like 75% that will happen. So there is a chance. But anyway, that's what that's for. No Allied ships may ever use Kiel Canal until France falls. Allied land units may land and block. This actually is kind of redundant because of a change that he made on the map with ports. We're going to allow the Allied units to use the Kiel Canal if they can take those ports. So that's fine. So we're not worried about this. This is a big one. This is for balance reasons and historical reasons. No German attack on Low Countries in France till May 1940. And Germany must attack all Low Countries, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg at the same time. The reason why is, we don't think France would have a chance because there's so many extra turns. There's double the turns here. You could just start clawing at like the Netherlands and then Belgium. Another reason we have all Low Countries is I've seen a lot of gameplay of people do this, and it really is unrealistic, and I don't like it at all. I'll just tell you, and I don't care if you disagree or not. I think it's gamey as shit. They'll attack Belgium and ignore the Netherlands and ignore Luxembourg. Especially Luxembourg really chaps my hide. Come on, man. And the other thing is you can game this because if you take one down, you get a global boost the next turn. It lingers for a couple turns, and you go into do Luxembourg. Some people just totally ignore it. It's very unrealistic. Don't like it. So we put this in. I have to do this, and I will do it. No more. Number 4. No more than 5 UK land units in France till September 1940. Okay. The reason for this is, and people do this in World at War anyway. Not everybody, but some people do. They just sell all their, they don't do any research at all, the British. They sell all their chits and they just spam units and just fill France. Well, that is totally unrealistic. They would not stop their ongoing research and wouldn't think of long-term research just to put a bunch of units in front of Germans and try to delay them as long as possible. It's gamey play. So anyway, this codifies it. This one's a familiar one. I've insisted on this from playing other war games, especially East Front war games. Number 5, Finnish units may not enter any land hexes south of the Riga-Moscow-Perm line. Now, this isn't a polar projection, so it's just a straight line because it's a Mercator projection. All right, don't argue. Oh, the Smolensk is at the same latitude as Riga. Well, it is, but not on this map. Finnish units may enter anywhere in Norway and Sweden. Finnish special force unit may go anywhere. Number 6, this is realistic. No Hungarian units may never enter Romania, and vice versa. No Romanian units in Hungary. It's all about the Second Vienna Award. Was part of the game. Number 7, no Allied scandal gammon on Oslo, Norway, or Copenhagen, Denmark, while these two countries are neutral, or until France falls. After that, Allies do whatever you want, in case they're still neutral, even. Because yeah, you might not want to do Norway or Copenhagen, but once France falls, it should be game. This number 8 is really not redundant anymore, which I just showed on the map. No Allied blocking the Gibraltar travel hexes. I guess this would pertain if the Allied player did discover the loot boxes that Lothos designed. I think that would be near impossible, but you never know. So, because once you're on the loot box and and then at the end of the turn they disappear and they get basically teleported to the other side of Gibraltar. So I'll probably, well, we can just ignore this. Number 9, Italian transports destined for Abyssinia, Ethiopia must travel as fast as possible while neutral. No learning to be used as spotters that are cheesy moves. Yeah, now they can go through the Suez Canal. Italian units can. There's a loot box there north of the canal. Only one at a time can get through. And I had to work that out, how that, I discovered that. I knew about it, but to actually implement it. Well, that's a little slower. I do move some stuff down to Italian East Africa. I want to make it an active zone. Ties them up for a long time. Number 10, Vigo and Canary Island ports least journey may not be bombed. That unless Spain is an Axis power. Okay. Now, there is an exclusion zone that Lothos has designed. You can't see it from the Axis point of view, but you can see it from the Allied point of view. It goes around Vigo and the other port in the Canary Islands that are leased to Germany. So those ports are technically Spanish territory. The property was only leased in certain port facilities. So the Allies, even though they wanted to, they never bombed those ports. The ports. They lingered outside, but the exclusion zone, if the ships try to reduce the docks, they can't. They could, but they're going to get hurt real bad. It's kind of the same thing as that Adriatic area that he designed. So, but this precludes, because we found a loophole. Well, you could be on a carrier, the escort carriers, and bomb the snot out of the docks. Well, that would make Spain an Axis power. They would swing real quick over to the Axis. So anyway, this is a house rule. That's why we have this house rule. Just, you can't do it. Number 11, no Bulgarian units in USSR unless Moscow or Baku is Axis controlled. No Bulgarian units in Romania. No Romanian units in Bulgaria. Yeah, they didn't like each other over Dobruja. This is one that I asked for because it's more realistic. No Hungarian, Romanian, Bulgarian mainline units in France or Italy. Garrison security units, okay. The main reason was national policy, fear of the Soviet Union. These were right-wing states, but they didn't want to antagonize the West. They had a lot of fear though against the Soviet Union. So they weren't going to and Bulgaria was really concerned about their new possessions in Macedonia and everything, the Balkans. 13's a big one. No experienced farm of naval units. What that is, a lot of people do that. I don't think everybody does that. I've seen it as house rules, but people would take their battleships or whatever and start bombing hapless little towns with no units on it just to get experience, you know, gunnery practice. Well, that's just wrong. Totally legitimate though if there's enemy units and whatever, but a lot of people know what this means. Communist units cannot go into Chinese territory, so but nationalist Chinese can. So I will show that in the first couple of videos. We will see that where there's an area because Japanese occupied China. There's a communist Chinese sphere of influence in the north, and then a nationalist Chinese sphere of influence in the south. It used to be all Chinese territory, but it's Japanese owned. So anyway, so the communist Chinese units are restricted pretty much to the north. The nationalist Chinese can go anywhere in China and beyond. Japanese fleet should not attack or be within 20 hexes of the U.S. West Coast for 6 months. Well, we amend this because I talked to the colonel. We amended this today. It's going to be this rule, which I'll talk about in a little bit. We're going to have an additional thing here because he's got a chunk of the map says the West Coast, even though it's got to be double the distance away because of a design choice. I do feel that he could have Lothos. There's a way you can put a box in Alaska and you can have the whole West Coast up there and it will never be touchable, and you have loot boxes go out. We use it. That's designed in the DLC. Well, actually, the Russian Civil War scenario where Great Britain is in a box and they can send stuff, air assets or land assets through transport loot boxes, different areas on the fringes of Russia. All right, Singapore. UK must keep at least 5 combat warships at Singapore until Japan declares war. Now, I believe there's some kind of game mechanic that the designer Lothos has in place there. Where if he moves them out or moves too many in, they get damaged. I'm not quite clear how that works. Maybe if you're watching, you can explain it. No ally in the comments. No allied war decks of their own neutral colonies. Solomon Islands, New Guinea. Well, we crafted this before I realized that, well, these are all British territory anyway. They're not separate states. So you can't war deck them. So this is actually redundant now. There could be other neutral colonies. You know, they're actually British, I think, but I don't know. But we don't really even need this. No German units in Albania until after Greece surrenders. Yeah, I mentioned that. That keeps, again, like, you know, stuffing the Luftwaffe in there and stuff. The Germans want to help Italy. They got to come down through Macedonia and Bulgaria. Number 19, we added today, day of this recording. We talked about this for quite a long time. No Japanese surface vessels east of Oahu and Hawaii unless Oahu captured by the Axis. Subs are okay. There's a variety of reasons why. One is the blob, which is the West Coast, which it's just way too close. You could game that really bad as a Japanese. You could. So, and well, I signed the NDA. I'm in the War of the Pacific beta, but there's something I think I can say this. There's something similar. So that's all I'll say about that. So anyway, that's it. So I hope you guys stick around and watch this series. It's going to be good. And again, we're already we're only like 60 turns ahead. It's about 2 years, but there's a lot going on, man. And so with that, I'm going to let everybody go. It's getting late here, and hope to see you guys again. My first turn as Axis goes up on May 31st, about 9 or 10 a.m. And then the colonels will come about 12 hours later, Central Time in the United States. So around midnight. or 10 o'clock over here in the evening. But for Europe, it'll be in the morning. So anyway, with that, and there's a link to his channel in the description if you're unaware of Gaming with the Colonel. And the house rules too. And the music that I use. Alright, we'll see you guys later on the virtual battlefields. I am gone.